Lost. That's the word that screamed in Jenna's mind as her sneakers pounded the unfamiliar dirt path, her breath fogging in the crisp dawn air. She'd been jogging this trail for weeks. Same time, same route, a quiet forest loop near her new house in Oregon. But today, the trees looked wrong. Taller. Thicker. The path twisted in ways it never had before, and the sky above was a bruised purple, not the soft pink she'd started with. Her phone? Dead. No signal anyway, not this deep in the woods. She told herself it was just a glitch in her routine, a trick of exhaustion. But then she heard it, a low, guttural hum, like a machine buried underground. It vibrated through her soles, up her spine, and she stopped, chest heaving. She wasn't alone. The hum grew louder, and with it came footsteps. Not hers. Heavy, deliberate, crunching leaves somewhere behind her. She spun around, but the trail was empty, just endless trees swallowing the horizon. "Hello?" she called, her voice trembling. No answer. Just the hum, now pulsing like a heartbeat. She started jogging again, faster, her eyes darting for landmarks. The old oak with the split trunk, gone. The rusted signpost, vanished. Panic clawed at her throat. She'd read about hikers disappearing in these woods, dismissed it as urban legend. But now, every shadow seemed to shift, every branch to reach. Then she saw it, a figure. Far off, barely a silhouette, standing still between two pines. Tall, unnaturally thin, watching her. She blinked, and it was gone. Her legs burned as she pushed harder, the hum now a roar in her ears. She didn't dare look back again. The trail stretched on, endless, looping in ways that defied reason. She tripped, sprawling into the dirt, her hands scraping against something cold and smooth, a metal plate buried in the ground, etched with symbols she couldn't read. The footsteps were closer now, slow and methodical, and she scrambled up, sobbing. She ran until her lungs screamed, until the trees finally parted, spitting her out onto a gravel road she didn't recognize. A truck rumbled past, and she flagged it down, collapsing into the passenger seat. "Where'd you come from?" the driver asked, eyeing her torn clothes. "The trail," she gasped. He frowned. "Ain't no trail back there. Just an old mill site. Been shut down since '82. Jenna couldn't sleep that night. The driver's words gnawed at her, and the hum still echoed in her skull, faint but persistent. She'd showered, scrubbed the dirt from her nails, but her hands still felt wrong, sticky, like they'd touched something alive. She googled the mill, found scraps, abandoned in the '80s after workers vanished, rumors of experiments, strange lights in the woods. Nothing concrete. She told herself it was over, just a freak scare. But at 3 a.m., she heard it again, the hum. Low, seeping through her bedroom walls. She shot upright, heart hammering. It wasn't her imagination. It was real, and it was closer. She grabbed a flashlight and peered out her window. The backyard stretched into the forest, dark and still. Then she saw them, 2 pinpricks of light, glowing faintly among the trees. Eyes? No, too high off the ground, too steady. She fumbled for her phone, dialed 911, but the line crackled and died. The hum grew louder, vibrating the glass, and those lights moved, slowly, toward her house. She bolted downstairs, locked every door, and hid in the closet, clutching a kitchen knife. The hum stopped. Silence pressed against her ears, thick and suffocating. Then a knock. Soft, deliberate, on the back door. She didn't move. Another knock, louder. She bit her lip to keep from screaming. Morning came, gray and heavy. The knocks had stopped hours ago, but Jenna didn't leave the closet until sunlight bled through the cracks. She crept outside, knife in hand, and found footprints in the mud, bare, elongated, with too many toes. They circled her house, then trailed back into the woods. She called the police, but they found nothing, no prints, no lights, just her word against the quiet forest. They suggested stress, maybe a prank. She didn't argue. She packed a bag and left that day, crashing with a friend in the city. But the hum followed. Faint at first, in the hum of traffic, the buzz of lights. Then louder in her dreams, pulling her back to that trail. Last week, her friend found her gone. No note, no trace, just her sneakers by the door, caked in fresh dirt. Fog swallowed Mark whole that morning, a thick, choking shroud that rolled off the Thames and smothered the London park he jogged through daily. He liked the quiet, the way his footsteps echoed in the mist, the world reduced to gray shapes and muffled sounds. But today, the fog felt alive, clinging to his skin, curling into his lungs. He'd seen the headlines: joggers attacked in the city, a string of unsolved cases. He wasn't worried. He was 6 feet 2 inches, ex-military, and carried a knife strapped to his calf. Still, something prickled his neck as he ran, a sense of eyes on him. Then he heard it, another set of footsteps, faint but steady, matching his pace. He slowed, listening. The footsteps stopped. He picked up speed, and they started again, closer now, slapping wet pavement. "Who's there?" he shouted, his voice swallowed by the fog. No reply. He turned, scanning the haze, and saw a shape, broad shoulders, a hooded coat, maybe 20 yards back. Just standing there. Mark's gut twisted. He broke into a sprint, weaving through the park's twisted paths, the footsteps dogging him, relentless. He ducked behind a tree, knife in hand, and waited. Silence. The figure didn't pass. He crept out, heart pounding, and saw nothing but fog. Relief was short-lived. As he jogged toward the park exit, the footsteps returned, faster, erratic, like a predator closing in. He pushed harder, lungs burning, until he stumbled into a street lamp's glow. A woman walking her dog stared at him, startled. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded, panting, and glanced back. The fog was empty. He laughed it off, blamed his nerves, and headed home. But that night, replaying it, he realized something. The footsteps hadn't echoed like his. They'd been soft, deliberate, like bare feet on wet ground. And the figure, he hadn't seen its face, but its hands, just for a second, had looked wrong. Too long. Too pale. Mark didn't jog the next day. He stayed in, watched the news. Another attack, this time fatal. A jogger found in a different park, throat slashed. The footage showed a foggy path, eerily like his. He told himself it was coincidence, that he dodged a random creep. But at midnight he woke to a sound, tap, 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 on his ground floor window. He lived alone, no trees nearby to blame. He grabbed his knife and peeked through the blinds. Fog pressed against the glass, thick as soup, and there it was, a handprint. Smeared, oversized, with fingers that bent at odd angles. He stumbled back, pulse racing. He called the police, but by the time they arrived, the print was gone, washed away by condensation. They searched the yard, nothing. "Probably kids," they said. Mark didn't buy it. He installed cameras, stayed up with the lights on. 2 nights later, the footage caught it, a figure in the fog, standing at the edge of his garden. Hood up, face obscured, hands dangling like broken branches. It didn't move for an hour, then vanished when a car passed. Mark showed the video to a friend, a cop, who went pale. "That's no kid," he muttered. "Burn it. Move." Mark didn't burn it. He posted it online, desperate for answers. Replies flooded in, tales of a fog man, a spectre tied to London's old plague pits, stalking lone runners. Most called it nonsense, but one user sent a photo, a grainy shot from 1983, a jogger's body in the mist, a tall figure looming nearby. The hands matched. Mark moved the next week, across the city, far from parks. But last month, fog rolled in again, and with it, the tapping. He checks his cameras daily now. Last night's clip showed the figure closer, its face still hidden, one hand pressed to the lens, fingers splayed, counting down. Teeth flashed in the dying light, a jagged slash of white that caught Sarah's eye as she jogged past the abandoned lot. She'd run this route for years, 5 miles through a sleepy Colorado suburb, a rhythm of cracked sidewalks, sagging porches, and fields choked with weeds. Dusk was her time, the air cool, the streets empty. But lately, something had shifted. It started with glimpses, a shadow too big for a dog, too silent for a coyote, lurking near that lot. Tonight, it wasn't lurking. It was there, pacing her, its bulk a smear against the orange sky. She squinted, her breath puffing in the chill, and saw its eyes flat, reflective, like coins glinting in a well. Her stomach tightened, but she kept running, sneakers slapping pavement, telling herself it was nothing. Then it moved. Not a trot, not a lope, a jerking, uneven stride, like a marionette with half its strings cut. The sound hit her next, a wet, rasping growl, low and wrong, bubbling up from somewhere deep. She veered left, cutting through an alley, her ponytail whipping behind her. The growl followed, closer, joined by the slap of something heavy on asphalt. Not paws, not quite feet, something in between. Her chest burned, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. She darted into the park, a shortcut to the main road, weaving between skeletal trees. The growl sharpened into a snarl, and she felt it, hot, sour breath grazing her calves, so close she swore it brushed her skin. She screamed, a raw, ragged sound, and stumbled over a root, crashing into the dirt. Pain exploded in her knee, but she clawed upright, spinning to face it. Nothing. The park was still, empty swings creaking in the breeze, the lot a black void beyond. Her leg throbbed, blood trickling from a gash, but there was no dog, no coyote, no anything. She limped toward the road, her breath hitching, and flagged down a pickup. The driver, an old man with a grizzled beard, stared at her torn leggings. "You okay, miss?" he rasped. "Something chased me," she said, voice shaking. "Big. Like a dog, but—" He cut her off, eyes narrowing. "Ain't no dogs out here. Not like that. You're lucky you made it." She climbed in, shivering, and he drove her home in silence. At her door, she checked her security cam footage, hands trembling. It showed her sprinting, falling, screaming, but behind her, only a flicker, a distortion, like heat rising off pavement. Then, at 3 a.m., she woke to a sound, a slow, deliberate scratch on her back door, deep enough to splinter wood. Sarah didn't sleep. The scratches stopped at dawn, but the marks on her door, 4 jagged grooves too wide for claws, too deep for a prank, kept her pacing. She called animal control, her voice tight, and showed them the footage. The officer, a wiry guy with a clipboard, squinted at the screen. "Could be a bear," he said, scratching his neck. "Or wind. Hard to tell." She pointed at the door. "Wind doesn't do that." He shrugged, took photos, and left, promising to set traps. She didn't believe him. Bears didn't move like that thing. Too fast, too quiet, too wrong. She locked every window, dragged a dresser against the back door, and sat on her couch, clutching a baseball bat. The day dragged, gray and heavy. She Googled it, missing pets, joggers spooked, tracks that didn't fit. One forum post stopped her cold, a blurry photo from a decade ago, snapped in a field nearby. A thing stood there, tall, hairless, with a dog's snout but a man's stance, its limbs bent at angles that hurt to look at. "Skinwalker," the poster wrote. "Don't run. It likes the chase." Her laugh was brittle, forced. She shut her laptop, brewed coffee, tried to shake it. But at dusk, the air thickened, and that growl came again, faint, drifting from the lot. She peeked through the blinds, bat in hand. The street was empty, but the lot wasn't. Something stood there, silhouetted against the fading light, head cocked like it was listening. Too tall, too thin, its arms dangling past its knees. She froze, breath shallow. It didn't move, just watched, its eyes catching the last rays like polished glass. Then it dropped, folding into the shadows, and the growl rolled closer, vibrating the floor. She stumbled back, heart slamming, and grabbed her phone. 911 buzz static, the line dead. The growl became footsteps, thudding, uneven, circling her house. She ran upstairs, barricaded her bedroom with a chair, and crouched by the bed, bat raised. The footsteps stopped. Silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Then a new sound, a low, guttural whine, almost human, seeping through the walls. It wasn't outside anymore. It was in the house. She bit her tongue to keep from screaming, tasting blood, and waited. Dawn broke, pale and cold. The wine was gone, the house still. She crept downstairs, bat trembling in her grip, and found the back door ajar, the dresser shoved aside, claw marks raking the floor. Sarah didn't stay. She packed a bag, clothes, phone, bat, and drove to a motel 2 towns over, the lot shrinking in her rearview. The clerk, a bored woman with chipped nails, handed her a key without looking up. Room 12, second floor, safe. She double-locked the door, wedged a chair under the knob, and collapsed on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Sleep came in fits, jagged with dreams of teeth and eyes. At midnight she jolted awake, sweat-soaked, to a sound: tap, tap, tap. Not the door. The window. 3 stories up. She yanked the curtains back, and there it was, a handprint, smeared across the glass, fingers too long, joints bent backward. She screamed, scrambling for her phone, but the screen flickered and died. The tapping grew louder, rhythmic, like a code. She grabbed the bat, swung the curtains shut, and backed into the corner, eyes locked on the window. The tapping stopped. Then a shadow slid across the curtain, tall, hunched, moving slow. She held her breath, counting seconds. It passed, and silence returned. She didn't move until sunrise, when light bled through the cracks. The handprint was gone, the glass clean, but the frame was scratched, deep, splintered gouges, like it had tried to pry its way in. She checked out, ignoring the clerk's stare, and drove to a friend's house in Denver, an hour away. Lisa, her college roommate, didn't ask questions, just poured coffee and listened. Sarah spilled it all: the chase, the growl, the marks. Lisa frowned, scrolling her phone. "Look at this," she said, showing a news clip. "A jogger, found dead last week, throat torn out, near that same lot. No suspects, no tracks, just a witness claiming a big dog that vanished." Sarah's hands shook. "That's it," she whispered. Lisa urged her to stay, and she did, crashing on the couch. But that night the growl came back, low, seeping through the walls of Lisa's apartment, 5 floors up. She bolted upright, waking Lisa, who heard it too. They checked the balcony, nothing but city lights. Then Lisa gasped, pointing at the glass door. A smear of saliva, thick and yellow, dripped down the pane, reeking of rot. The growl faded, but Sarah knew it wasn't done with her. Sarah stopped running. No jogs, no trails, no open spaces. She stayed with Lisa, sleeping in the guest room, the bat by her bed. Days blurred into weeks, the city's hum drowning out the memory of that growl. She saw a therapist, blamed stress, tried meds. The nightmares lingered, teeth snapping, eyes glinting, but the real world stayed quiet. Lisa installed cameras, extra locks, and Sarah started to breathe again. Maybe it was over. Maybe it had lost her scent. Then, on a rainy Tuesday, Lisa came home pale, holding a package. No label, no address, just Sarah's name scrawled in red ink. Inside, a single photo, grainy, taken at night. It showed her jogging, weeks ago, mid-stride on that suburban street. Behind her, a shape, tall, blurred, its head tilted, teeth bared in a grin. She dropped it, gagging. Lisa called the cops, but they found nothing, no prints, no sender, just a dead end. The photo went into a drawer, locked, but Sarah couldn't unsee it. That night, the rain hammered the windows, and the growl returned, louder, closer, rattling the glass. She woke Lisa, and they watched the cameras. The feed showed the balcony, rain-slicked and empty. Then a flicker, static, and there it was, standing in the downpour. Not a dog, not a man, but both and neither, skin stretched tight over bones, eyes sunken, mouth too wide. It stared at the camera, unblinking, then lunged, claws raking the lens. The feed cut to black. They fled, grabbing keys and phones, sprinting to Lisa's car. The garage was dark, the rain a roar, and as they peeled out, Sarah saw it in the side mirror, loping after them, effortless, its limbs bending wrong. Lisa floored it, weaving through traffic, but the thing kept pace, darting between cars, a shadow in the storm. They hit the highway, 70 miles per hour, and it faded into the dark. They didn't stop until dawn, pulling into a gas station 200 miles away. Sarah sobbed, Lisa chain-smoked, and they swore never to go back. But the car's dashcam had recorded it, hours of road, then a frame, just one, of that thing crouched on the hood, staring through the windshield, its tongue lolling like a promise. Sarah vanished a month later. She'd moved again, new state, new name, a cabin in Montana, far from cities, far from lots. She didn't jog, didn't leave the house, lived off savings and paranoia. Lisa got one call, a week before. "It's still here," Sarah whispered, voice cracking. "It waits." Then silence. Lisa drove up, found the cabin empty, door ajar, bat on the floor, a single scratch mark gouging the wall. No blood, no struggle, just gone. The locals whispered about a thing, in the woods, a hunter's tale, but no one searched long. Sarah's phone, left behind, had one photo, time-stamped that night, her sleeping, curled on the couch, and above her, a shadow, teeth gleaming, eyes like coins, watching. Lisa burned the photo, sold her place, moved overseas. She doesn't sleep much, checks locks obsessively, avoids rain. Last year, she got an email, no sender, no subject, just a video. It was Sarah, jogging on a forest trail, screaming as the camera shook. Behind her, the thing ran, taller now, leaner, its mouth stretched wider, teeth sharp as knives. The video cut off mid-scream, but Lisa swears she hears it still, that growl, low and wet, in the hum of her fridge, the creak of her floor. She's stopped running too, but at night, in the quiet, she feels it, hot breath on her neck, waiting for her to break, to run again. It always liked the chase.